So the stories of mine started in 2008 when I got pregnant with my second son. I have two sons. My oldest son is perfectly normal, no problems at all. 3 months into the pregnancy, just before 3 months into the pregnancy, my test results came back off. So my midwives called me and they said, your alpha fetal protein levels are 7 times elevated, which typically means there's protein leaking into the amniotic fluid, and which would mean that your child is probably going to be spina bifida. And they recommended a 2-week window, and they said, we recommend termination. And I said, have we run out of all the options? So then we went through this whole bunch of testing, blah, blah, blah. But there was a moment where I decided, the whole world against me, I decided, no, I'm going to go through with the pregnancy. So we went through all the testing, and slowly they said, okay, you know, he's got better chance of survival, better. And I pulled through to term. When he was born, the birth got complicated. It was a long labor and the birth got complicated. He was a meconium baby. He was rushed into the NICU. So my first time actually seeing him after I regained proper consciousness, whatever, although it was a regular birth, was I barely saw him. I only saw tubes and stuff running around him, jaundice, whatever. We were in the NICU for about a week. Came home at 31 days, I realized this child has severe eczema, to the point where he was oozing from head to toe. I would have to dab him and take it out. And he was in pain and burning sensation all through the day. He barely slept. Because of him, I barely slept. I remember days where thoughts weren't positive at all. And I wanted to end my suffering. Just watching him suffer was really difficult. So then I went about doing what every mother would do, finding solutions. So first came the dermatologist, topical application, blah, 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 blah. Pediatrician visits, blah, blah. At about 8-9 months, we realized that he was really small for his age. He wasn't gaining too much weight. And all I remember of that stage of his life is just fuzzy. So then I went about doing again this stuff, like went and saw a naturopath, tried elimination diet, went and saw a homeopath, Tibetan doctor, Ayurvedic doctor, acupuncturist. This child was poked and prodded, and pretty much nothing worked. So then I said, maybe there's something in his past life. So I ended up at the Hay House conference looking for answers in Toronto. And I'm glad I booked both days, because on the second day was Dr. Joe giving his 2014. And it was Dr. Joe, 1-hour keynote lecture, and something inside me just shifted. And I said, okay, you know what? Something's going to change in our lives now. I did the progressive workshop in Toronto live. Something shifted more. I wasn't still seeing differences in our life yet as much, but they were getting better. He was not screaming in agonizing pain for 6-8 hours. It was now maybe 3-4 hours. He also had intense leg cramps where he would scream and scream and scream until I gave him the Tylenol. So before that, we would have tried all the bathtub and, you know, the magnesium and blah, blah. None of those things were working. Then I went in 2015 to Carefree, Arizona, and something shifted during one of the meditations. I think it's more that I embodied that work, that his life started to change and my life started to change. And pretty much, I think it was after Carefree that I dropped everything. And I said, this child is healed. I don't think I even tried to make Akash feel whole. I just kept feeling whole myself. It was consistent work. And it's not about feeling whole about Akash. It was about just feeling whole. I didn't feel that I lacked anything. And life has been so rewarding since. So rewarding. I do not experience an area of lack. And in that sense, what I would say to all the mothers would be, the day you start to feel whole, your child will heal. Your child will heal. I carried with me so much guilt, so much trauma, and I blamed myself over and over and over again that it was my sins that caused him to suffer. And I cannot tell you the number of nights I've cried over him. Lack of sleep put me in a state of delirium constantly. I mean, I would sleep only when he slept, and he barely slept. But today, he has no allergies, nothing. The child eats, runs about, does his stuff. And he's now 10, but I think he's more like a 90-year-old, wise beyond his age. So I'm very grateful, very, very humbled by this work. I'm very grateful.